Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to part 2 of our land and sea trip report with Emily. In the first half, Christy talked with Emily about their stay at Walt Disney World. And in the second half, we're going to jump into the sea portion where they cruised out of Port Canaveral on the Disney Wonder. Now, Emily and her husband had cruised with several other cruise lines before this, but this is their first time traveling with their 2 toddlers and the first time on Disney Cruise Line. So got a lot of good kind of first takes for their first trip on Disney Cruise Line. So sit back, relax, and let's jump right back into Emily's trip report on the Disney Wonder.
So we woke up Sunday morning. We were pretty exhausted. We slept in a little bit. We had breakfast at Chef Mickey's, which I said in the beginning was my kids, it was their most favorite thing. It's all 5 of the characters: Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, and Donald. Daisy was not there. No,
she never is there.
Oh, okay. Poor Daisy. She's always excluded. So we had a fantastic breakfast at Chef Mickey's, and then we were ready to head over to Port Canaveral.
So you and your balloon go over.
Oh, no, the balloon. Oh, no. Oh, so.
Sorry to laugh, but,
Yeah, such a tragedy. Such a tragedy.
Balloons that are $20 a piece, I believe.
Oh, my God. You're not kidding. And they only take cash. So if your kid wants that balloon, you better bring the cash so we get up there.
First off, how did you get to the port?
Oh, that's a good question. So there were 2 options. You could take the big Disney bus, or you could do private transportation. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I priced it out, the big Disney bus, I think with the portholes on it, I think that was like $75 a person. Am I right?
Well, it's each way. So it's 35 to be 70 per person, but it's 35 each way. So like from the resort to the port is 35 per person. Although I think your baby is, your daughter is free under 3, and then it's 35 per person from the cruise ship to the airport.
Oh, okay.
So it's only 70 if it's round trip.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know. And I don't think maybe I even knew that information. But what I will say is that I was okay without the car seats. Although I don't know if I was totally okay with it when we did the Magical Express. We didn't have car seats.
Right.
And I was kind of holding my breath a little bit, but it was fine. It was totally fine. But I did not want to be traveling over an hour. Well, I guess it was almost an hour, but I felt like that far distance, I just didn't want them not to be in car seats. And so I think I forgot to mention this. So when we ended up doing the cruise portion, my dad and my stepmom heard about this trip and they decided that they wanted to come on the cruise with us. So there was actually 6 adults and the 2 kids on the cruise, but the land portion was just my in-laws. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So what ended up happening was my in-laws had their own car because they came up from South Florida. So they drove to the airport to pick up my dad and my stepmom. And then my husband and the 2 kids, we did the private transfer. We asked for like a 6-passenger van because remember, how many pieces of luggage did we have? And so we had to get a big van. They did have car seats. Although my daughter's car seat, they had front facing, and we were trying to explain that we wanted them to turn it around, but then it was too much trouble. So she actually got to ride forward facing, which she thought was great. But luckily she forgot about it and she's still okay being in the car seat rear facing right now at home. So anyway, I digress. Steve may want to cut all of that part out. But anyway, okay. So we had the private transportation. We knew that my dad and my stepmom were going to come back with us from Port Canaveral to the airport because my in-laws were going to leave from Port Canaveral just head straight south. So we ended up doing the private transfer because it just made more sense for our bigger group. I think if it was just our immediate family, I probably would have ended up just doing the Disney bus.
But then one thing everybody needs to know for the Disney bus is you don't get to the port until like 1 o'clock, 12:30 or 1 or something. It's really late though.
Yeah. I don't think I'd want that.
Right. So, and some people are surprised, and just weigh your options.
That's good to know. So I guess you have to do a kind of a price comparison, and then also I guess the time comparison, because
Right.
So we had 8:30 reservations at Chef Mickey's. We were done with breakfast outside by like 10 a.m. and we were at the port by 11, maybe 11:15.
Yeah, it's like a good hour and 15-minute drive.
And then
over an hour for sure.
And then, so when we got there, and then we tipped nicely a porter who took all 6 of our bags. Okay, so the balloons, those sad balloons.
Oh, the balloon.
I cried. No, I didn't actually cry, but I was a little bit inside because those were $20 balloons. But they had to pop them because apparently, I guess it violates maritime law because they don't want, the latex balloons to float into the ocean and then hurt birds and animals. So I get it. But next time, I'm not going to bring balloons. Okay, so maybe we should talk about the cabin that we got.
Yes. So we
Yes.
have not talked anything about what type of cabin you chose.
It was such a splurge. We got a 1-bedroom concierge suite. I'm just going to let that sink in. It was gorgeous, gorgeous. My husband and I had sailed on Celebrity and we got a royal suite for our honeymoon.
Oh.
So we knew that it was going to be awesome, but it was awesome. It had sliding doors so that the kids could nap and we could sit in the quote unquote living room. We had a double balcony. We had a little wet bar. We had a little table. We were on the Disney Wonder, which is one of the older, smaller ships. And I know that it had gone through a recent refurbishment, but it was the ship, and the ship was gorgeous. When I say gorgeous, it was immaculate. I don't think there was even one speck of dirt anywhere. There were people constantly cleaning. And I've been on Anthem of the Seas, which is huge, huge boat. I've been on Quantum. I've been on these bigger ships. And I was kind of worried because the Wonder is smaller. And I was kind of worried, is there going to be enough to do? Am I going to feel, is it too small? It was definitely smaller, but I didn't feel like there wasn't enough to do. There was plenty to do. And in fact, I thought it was just so charming. I'm so glad we went on the Wonder. And I know we're going to have a chance to go on Fantasy. And hopefully in 2021, I will get my, when I go in 2019, I'm going to get my placeholder. Although I have a feeling that they're not going to let you use placeholders. I just have this sinking feeling. But we'll see what happens with the new boats. So I'm glad we did the Wonder. It was a beautiful ship. And I definitely recommend Magic. I mean, we're going to be on the Magic in 2019, but I don't regret that decision. It was a great ship, and the 1-bedroom suite was amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty great. But
I have to say this, that it was definitely a splurge. And just so everyone knows, when we go on 2019 on the Magic, we are in a ocean view cabin on deck 2. So
well, that's just a little bit different.
It's going to be one extreme to another, but I'm totally cool with it. It's a completely different type of trip, but this was definitely a big happy birthday.
That's great. Yeah, we booked for over Labor Day weekend, a 3-night on the Dream. Basically, I had tax refund money had come in, and my son's daycare schedule came out, and they were going to be closed for the days leading up to Labor Day weekend. And so I'm just like, it's a long time to be home. Let's just go on a cruise. And
Christy, I love it. Only you would say, oh, let's just do this for 3 days. But no, that's awesome. I'm so jealous.
And we are going to be in Ocean View Cabin on that cruise. So,
right. Yeah. So there's always a time and a place for every different type of experience. And it's not going to be any less awesome. It may be a little bit more crowded, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I think it has like a pull down thing from the ceiling. We can talk about that later. I think my son will love that. He's going to be, oh my God, he'll be almost 6. Oh my God, my heart is stopping. But anyway, okay. So we did have a concierge cabin. So we had a very awesome experience when we came into the terminal. There was a special area for the concierge check-in, and then they escorted us onto the ship. So it was very crowded, but they took us on right away. So that was a great perk. And then
just really quick, just to say, because I don't think we mentioned this, the grandparents were all in concierge.
Oh,
as well.
yes. Okay. So that's a good point. So, yes. So my in-laws and my parents, when we told them about what we were doing, we gave them the option, we're doing the concierge, but you don't have to. But they both said, no, we want to do what you're doing so we can all be together. So we had a 1-bedroom suite, and then it was adjoining to my in-laws because they were coming with us from the beginning. So we had booked those originally. And then my parents wanted to come along, and then they actually got the last concierge cabin, and they were just family. They were just normal balcony cabins.
The category V, and they are family veranda cabins.
Oh, so that means they're a little bit bigger then.
Yeah. Basically, that chair that they had against I assume at least one of them had a chair that was in the corner. That chair is the difference in size from the family veranda to the regular veranda.
Got it. So that was pretty great. And then when we came onto the ship, the other really cool perk was that a cast member was there and took us directly to the elevators and then held everything and then took us straight up to the concierge lounge. So we had lunch in there, and then we met with our concierge host. So that was a really amazing perk.
And that lounge on the Wonder is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, it was beautiful, and they had windows. And I guess that's the other pro and con about the older ships and the newer ships, because on the older ships, they actually retrofitted the concierge lounge, and it's actually overlooks the adult pool, and it had all these windows. It was gorgeous. It was really gorgeous.
And it's huge. I don't know that it's as big on the Magic. I feel like that room that's to the left, that's over the Cove Cafe on the Magic, is still there, or it's something else. But I don't know that that's a part of the lounge. But
because on the Wonder it was big. It went on both sides.
Right, but I'm pretty sure the room to the right and then that middle room is still there.
Okay, so we met with our concierge host, and then we learned the bad news that the itinerary had changed. I think we were originally supposed to go to St. Martin, but guess what? The upside, my mother-in-law was very disappointed because she wanted to do shopping on St. Martin. But the upside was that we got 2 days at Castaway Cay, I'm sorry. And it was...
That's a dream.
Amazing.
Especially over a week-long cruise.
Our first day was at Castaway Cay, and our last day was at Castaway Cay. So it was awesome. And we had reserved a cabana for our Castaway Cay day. And the host, when he sat down with us to go over and explain the itinerary, he asked us if we wanted that same cabana on both days. And we all kind of looked at each other, and it was very expensive to even have the one cabana. And we were kind of like looking at each other. And then all of a sudden, my father-in-law piped up, "Oh, just give it to us. I got it." And I was like looking around. My eyes were as big as saucers. Thank you so much. This is amazing. I said, "Don't worry. You're going to love it." And he's like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." So we had number 10 on the family beach, and we had it both days. So I guess the moral of the story is that it is very hard to get a cabana, I think, unless you're concierge or platinum. Sorry to say.
Yeah. And it really goes to concierge first. So platinum has a chance, but they have less of a chance. And I think that's the one thing that you and I are going to miss the most when we go back.
It's just the attention, the individual attention. And, and the cool thing about the host was that anything we wanted. He told us in the very beginning, "I don't want you calling anybody else but me. Here's my extension. You need anything, you call me first." So that kind of individualized attention, that was amazing. And just one little example. I mean, there's so many examples. I can't even begin to tell you what an amazing experience it was, but I guess that he had known that it was he said, "Oh, you're celebrating your birthdays. Happy birthday." And I'm like, I kind of explained, and our first night, we come back after dinner, and they had put these I still have them here. I'm looking at them. They printed out these happy birthday signs, and they were on our door with like little paper balloons and little streamers and stuff. And it was just such an amazing little touch. I bet there were so many of them to count. I couldn't even count them all, but that was just one example. I mean, it was amazing. And our luggage arrived. The host said when we were done, maybe an hour later, he said, okay, you guys can go back to your room and drop your stuff off because I think your rooms are ready, which I think is another perk. I think that the cabins are ready sooner. And our luggage was delivered. I mean, like we hadn't even left. It was 1:00 and our luggage was being delivered. So I think that's another little perk.
That does not always work out that way, though.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So the
luggage, it worked out for us. It was pretty cool.
The room is usually available by about 12:30, where the rest of the cabins are available by 1:30. But the luggage they have the tags and they're different, and they're supposed to be. I think they try to make them priority, but it doesn't always work that way. So, one time we got our luggage at 5:00.
Oh, really? Oh, well, then I guess it's kind of hit or miss, but we were lucky. We spent a little bit of time. The kids were kind of just running around the room with havoc, and I was trying to get them will you lie down on the bed, take a rest? But they were not having that. So we, I mean, everybody was so excited. I mean, how could they take a nap? I mean, I think that was unrealistic, but we unpacked. So now we had 7 pieces of luggage. Oh my God. But we were able to store, I mean, there was so much storage in that space. I had brought a pop-up hamper and we had a huge closet. I mean, I can't even tell you how big this room was. And there was plenty of space for us to put everything away, and all of the luggage fit under the bed. And then I think one other piece of luggage we put in and I'm about to use the word hall closet because there is a hall closet in a concierge suite. So, and we had 2
closets in the hallway plus the
yeah. And we had 2 full bathrooms. I mean, this place, it was gorgeous. And there's so many on YouTube. There's so many videos that you can look of this cabin. It was gorgeous. So after that, we just explored the ship. We got my son set up with the kids club. I was a little bit worried. So I'm a working mom. So my kids go to school, and so my daughter was too little for the kids club, but my son, I mean, it was he just took one look around and he just took off. It was bye mom, see you later. And
nice.
He had lunch there a couple days. He was totally cool, and he was making friends and shaking hands and taking names. I mean, this kid's going to be a politician, I think, but he was fine. And the security was really top notch. I felt like it was safe. Nobody was going to take my kid out of the kids club, and they did a really great job with hand washing. They had a special machine that you put your hands in. Oh my God, I love that machine. I have a video of it, but I put my hands in and the water swirls around. So they're really good. So the reason why we learned kind of firsthand the reason why we had the itinerary change, because there was a terrible, terrible storm. And our first night was super, super rocky. We had dinner. Our first dinner was at Tiana's place. And I went into the cruise thinking that Tiana's place was going to be my least favorite. And it actually turned out that it was my absolute most favorite. I loved Tiana's place so much.
That was my opinion as well. That was how I felt after eating there as well.
They have live music, and Tiana walks around, and I try to be pretty cool with my kids, and it's okay that my son likes princesses. He likes robots. He likes lions and dinosaurs. He likes everything, and he likes princesses, and that's cool with me. And he loved Tiana, and she was so special, and she talked to him and listened, and he was telling her stories about how he loves hot dogs. And I mean, and they are so patient, and they just, and they smile and they listen. And it was so special. He loved Tiana. And so I think that was pretty much our favorite restaurant. And I was thinking I don't know if I'll like the food, but the food was great. And they had beignets. Mm-hmm. Beignets.
They can make those gluten-free too.
Oh, they can? Oh, well, good. I'm glad you get to experience them because they were delicious.
Yes.
So we missed the first show. We were exhausted from the theme parks, and the boat was so rocky. I think we all kind of felt a little sick. I mean, it was a little rock. It was so rocky that you had to hold the wall when you were walking.
Oh, wow.
So we got back to the room. Everybody fell asleep really quickly. And then our first day was Castaway Cay. We got up pretty early. We had I can't remember if we went up. The details are a little fuzzy because we were just so just relaxed and just like I didn't feel like we were rushing anywhere. I had the app on my phone. I had downloaded it before we left Port Canaveral. And make sure you do that because you can't download it when you don't have the internet. But all the little magazine newspaper things, the navigators, you can get on your phone. But I was so just relaxed. I was like, we can't see this princess. Okay, it's cool. We'll see her again later. Like I think I was a little burnt out from the theme park. So like the first couple of days we were just really relaxed. We all got off the ship. I don't remember where we had breakfast. Probably the concierge lounge because we did spend a lot of time in there. We got our tickets for the cabanas. I guess, yeah, we must have eaten up there. We had requested a pack and play in a cabana, and that was magically there, which was awesome. And we actually did use it. My daughter did take her nap in the pack and play in the cabana area. There was a hammock, there was sunscreen, there was magazines. I mean, it was gorgeous. There was music. They had like a little music and you could pick like different channels. I mean, it was amazing. Amazing. And we just spent the day in the hammock. They had umbrellas and chairs out by the beach. It included bike rentals and floats, but we didn't even do any of that. We basically just sat and just chilled out, and my kids played in the sand, and it was awesome. And then, when it was lunchtime, we just walked over to Cookies, and we just brought the food back to the cabana, and we just relaxed. So it was a really, really just great day. Yeah, it was just really awesome. We loved Castaway Cay. It was beautiful.
Perfect.
So then we had dinner at Triton's that night. I did like that restaurant. It was the food was delicious. The one cool thing that I really loved about Disney is that, you don't have to worry really about dining reservations because you basically just go from one restaurant to the next and you kind of just go in your order. But the other thing that I really loved was the fact that all of our waitstaff went with us. That was really cool. So that night, I can't remember, what was the there was like a puppet guy. What was his name? He had all sorts of puppets, and so we went to that show, and then we had an early night. So the next day was our day at sea, and they had so the cool thing, the other perk about concierge is that you can pretty much just send them the list of all the things that you want to do, everything that you want. You just send them an email, and then magically it just appears in your Disney account, your cruise thing. So I didn't have to wake up early in the morning. I didn't have any disappointment about things that I didn't get. I mean, literally anything we wanted, they gave us. It was an amazing service.
It is special, and it is nice. The concierge is nice when it can be worked into the budget, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's definitely a special occasion thing. And for us, for the big birthday, it was a very special time, but it's definitely not an everyday thing for sure. So we basically did all of the princesses on our first day at sea. We did the Disney Junior Breakfast, which was great. And then we did the Princess Meet and Greet, which were 4 princesses in the atrium. And they were signed in the book and everything. Oh, and the other cool thing that we did on the cruise ship is that I bought one of those write-on frames.
Oh, yeah.
That people buy for parties or weddings or whatever. And all of the characters signed the frame. And then after our trip, I put our embarkation photo in the frame. So that was really kind of a cool little souvenir because, to be perfectly honest, we did not buy souvenirs at all. Like we bought some. I mean, I think he loved the Buzz Lightyear ride because of the Buzz Lightyear store, because all he wanted was Buzz Lightyear toys. Right. So we did end up buying him one of the Buzz Lightyear toys, but for the most part, we did not buy souvenirs because we had spent so much money on the vacation itself that we really didn't have a budget for souvenirs. So one of the things that I had thought about was inexpensive souvenirs, and this was one of the ideas that I had come up with.
Great idea.
Yeah, and one word of warning that the Marvel characters are not allowed to sign their name next to a Disney character. And they told my son it's because they don't want the bad guys to know they're on vacation. But Yes, but the attorney and me knew that it had probably something to do with licensing, but it's fine. So Spider-Man's on the back of the frame. You can't really see him, but we know he's there. Anyway,
That's hilarious.
yeah. So that was our formal night, and we that was our formal day, and so we got everybody dressed up in black tie tuxedos. But I don't want anyone to worry because we were definitely not the norm. Like, this is not like a princess cruise where people get dressed up. But we wanted to do it. I wanted to get some cute pictures, and the Disney characters, as I remember, are dressed up in their kind of special evening clothes.
Yes.
So we did get a couple really, really nice photos that may end up being our holiday card. but that was something that I definitely wanted, and it did make really great pictures.
Did you get the photo package?
So actually, we got the memory maker for Magic Kingdom, which I thought was a pretty good deal. But we did not get the picture package on the cruise ship because it was very expensive. I can't remember exactly, but I want to say it was almost $300. I want to say it was very expensive. We just bought maybe one or two pictures at the end of the cruise, like the ones that we wanted, because it just wasn't in our budget. I mean, everybody has to kind of pick and choose what matters the most to them. And then our next day was another day at sea. That was our pirate day. We didn't really do much during the morning. I think we slept in. Well, we slept till 8 o'clock because that's what you do. That's what sleeping in means when you have toddlers. But compared to like the 6 a.m. like with the rope drop, it was sleeping in. We really just relaxed. We just walked around the ship. We drew characters. We played bingo. I think they had like a special area that was like all padded for the toddlers, so we did that. The cool thing that we did do for the pirate night is that, so my daughter had her first haircut in the park, but I wanted to do something for my son, so we signed him up for the Pirates League package at Bibbidi Bobbidi for the pirate night. I had purchased, like the day after Halloween, I had purchased a pirate costume. That's another tip. If you're going on a cruise after Halloween, just buy all your costumes right after Halloween, save some money, because it's a lot cheaper to bring your own pirate costumes than to buy the pirate costume on a ship. And my kids are so little, they don't know the difference. So he did the pirate package. He didn't really care for it. He wouldn't let them put all the makeup on him. And so I don't know, for us, I'm glad that we did it because I wanted to try it out to see if he would like it, but he didn't like it at all. So he just had these like strange like eyebrows, but he wouldn't let them do, he wouldn't let them do like the beard or the mustache or anything. But they were really cute in there. They had a pirate pledge. I mean, it was adorable. So if you have a little boy, and they also had the Pirate League package for little girls too. So if you have a little one, that might be something to look into.
Just a note on Pirate Night, you don't have to dress up. So lots of people
that's true. Yeah.
But just so people know too, going in, if it's your first cruise or if you don't want to, I mean, my family does. We're not pirate dress up people, so we don't dress up that night. But
okay,
it's something. Yeah, it's something you can do, and some people get really into it. Like, really, like, one of their 6 suitcases could have been their pirate night outfit.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we had one suitcase just full of the princess dresses, the Buzz Lightyear costumes, our pirate gear. I mean, and the fish extender. Oh, gosh, I don't even know where to start. We did a fish extender. I did, and I bought, a fish extender thing from some woman on Etsy who did a lovely job. I don't know if I'm going to do it again. I did enjoy it. The kids liked coming back to the cabin to see all the little toys and knickknacks, but it does take up a lot of space in that suitcase. And coming home too. It just takes a lot of space up in your suitcase.
Oh, it really does. Really quick. The fish extender is basically a self-participation gift exchange with people that are cruising on your same cruise, and you can find participants. The most popular place is Facebook groups for your cruise. So, but there are some other cruise boards that also might have their own fish extender gift exchange going on. So you can just sign up for one of the cruise groups that is in effect for the same week that you're going on a cruise, and you bring gifts and then you get gifts. And I agree, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I mean, I would say that I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that we had that experience. I know the kids enjoyed it, but it was a lot of work, a lot of preparation. People really go all out on personalizing. I did find our group through Facebook. It was really actually very easy to find. But I think, you know what? I think that going into it, if you've never done it before, if you're a crafty type person, if it intrigues you, I'm not a crafty person. So like everything about the fish extender, I just purchased because I just couldn't do it myself. So maybe that was kind of part of my mistake. But I think if you're that kind of person who likes to do that kind of stuff, I think you'll really get a kick out of it. And I'm glad we did it, but I just don't know. Like when we go in 2019, I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to do it again. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll change my mind, but we'll see. I mean, I suppose since we're cruising, we're not flying to the port. Maybe I have more space in my seven. No, we're not. No, we're never taking 7 suitcases again. My husband was he was gentle about it, but we're not doing that again. I have to be a better packer. But anyway, so we spent most of our cocktail hour, the pre-dinner, we went up to the concierge lounge. There's complimentary drinks and hors d'oeuvres. So we kind of hung out there before every meal. And they had one special private meet and greet with Lilo and Stitch. And so we got some great photos and the kids really liked it.
You had first seating?
Yes, absolutely. And I think with little ones, you definitely want that first seating. And I think if you don't get it right away, don't give up. I think if you go onto the ship right away, they will try to accommodate you. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they do. So you can put yourself on a waiting list either before the cruise or during the cruise. So you can, when you arrive, if you haven't been switched over yet.
So let me talk about the pirate deck party. We had a really, really great time. It was very windy. I had a cute little pirate outfit on, so I had to hold my skirt down. It was very windy, so that just be forewarned. But it was great. I think my in-laws were kind of sitting. It was very loud. It was just like a giant dance party. It was a lot of fun. I think the kids liked it. We really enjoyed the fireworks at sea, although I think my kids were so spoiled because they saw fireworks at Magic Kingdom 3 nights in a row. And then they saw like the fireworks at sea, which is still awesome, but it's not as long. It's not as elaborate. So my son was like, "Is that it?" I'm like, "Be quiet. This is great." But and the fireworks right after the deck party. So, but there was one really cool part of the deck party. I don't know if I should share it. Some people want to know every little thing. Some people like to be surprised. So what do you think, Christy?
Yeah. So we'll just tell people that they should fast forward 30 seconds if they don't want, and you can do that right on your phone. So we'll give you a second, fast forward 30 seconds, and then come back.
So the cool thing, spoiler alert, is that Mickey zip lines across the deck at the very end of the show to announce the fireworks.
Oh, it's at the end?
At the very end of the show, that's when it happens. So that part was really cool, and my kids loved that part. So what was the next?
Yep, and your 30 seconds are up, so now people can be back.
Perfect.
Back with us if they fast forward. I have been on 8 Disney cruises, and I have never seen the pirate show, like the stage show.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're missing out because, I mean, it's something that you have to experience once. It's a lot of fun. You got to be a joiner. No, I know. It's not for everyone.
Crowded up there.
It is very crowded. It was very crowded, yes. But you know what?
I've seen the fireworks a couple of times, but I've seen them in the adult-only area or from our cabin.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So the pirate, though, the show, it's just... We're not crowded.
Yo ho ho. Yeah, it's just like that. It's perfect. But you know what? I mean, I think if you're not on the actual pool deck, if you go one deck up where it kind of overlooks the pool deck, it's a little bit less crowded, but it was more windy. It was windier on that higher level. But we had a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of people got dressed up, but you don't have to. The next day was San Juan. My husband and I have been to San Juan several times. I had brought, in my 7 suitcases, I had brought some school supplies and some other things, because it was kind of, San Juan was still, they were still accepting, donations and everything from the hurricane that had happened in the fall. So we had brought some stuff to donate. So I think my in-laws, or maybe my parents, took them off the ship for us, but we did not get off the ship. We had been there several times, and we just didn't want to bring the kids off the ship. And we were, like I said, we didn't have any other than the cabanas. I mean, this really wasn't an excursion type cruise because there really was only one, port day at San Juan. So we didn't really do any excursions. I had really highly planned the land portion, but the sea portion I didn't really plan. I mean, I had made my reservations with the concierge before the cruise. I had done maybe just the minimal amount, but I didn't have anything planned during the day. We kind of just did whatever we wanted whenever we wanted to do it, and it was perfect. And I think you can do that on the cruise. You definitely can do that on the cruise part.
Yeah, I agree.
So we just kind of took it easy. So my husband and I went to the spa, and we really enjoyed that. It was a wonderful experience. They had like a couples treatment room. And then my son, I think, was probably at the kids club or something. And then one of the grandparents was watching my daughter. And we may have also scheduled it during nap time so that the babysitter really didn't have to do much but just sit on the balcony and listen for her crying. So we tried to make that part really easy, and that was amazing. So we did do that, and we did have brunch at Palo the next morning, which I will talk about in a moment. That was amazing.
Did your daughter go to the nursery at all?
You're right. I forgot to mention that. There is a nursery there, and we did tour it while we were on the first day, but we ended up not sending her there because we did have 4 grandparents. So at least one out of those 4 could watch her. But when we go on our Disney Magic in 2019, we're going with a couple friends of ours, and they have 2 little boys. So we're going to put all 4 of those kids in the kids club so they can run around, and then we can have our adult time. I'm really looking forward to that. But no, we did not. Yeah, we did not use the infant room. So the cool thing about Disney Cruise Line is that they have a movie theater. It's amazing. And the other cool thing was that our cruise was actually when they had a premiere of Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we stayed up really late Friday night, and we got to watch that. And the movie itself was fine, but it was just such a cool experience to be watching a movie on a cruise ship. I mean, that part was just so cool. I mean, I think we also saw Black Panther, so that was really fun.
And the best part is there's no additional charge.
Yes, exactly. And because we were in the concierge, they had popcorn. So we didn't have to pay. So that's one of the things, is that I always kind of feel like that's the one thing that I kind of felt like Disney should just make the popcorn free,
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, so then...
so really quick, we'll just say, so in front of the movie theater and where you go, the theater to see the performances, they have snack carts and popcorn, or like a cubby where you can buy these things and drinks. And none of those things are included in your cruise price. So anything you get from that cubby or the cart is additional cost. So if you get a pop or soda, you have to pay additional for that. You could go run up to the pool deck and get your soda from there. But if you get it from that cubby, you have to pay. So the movies don't cost anything. And if a movie is coming out at the theaters, they will have it on the ship. So they will never have it earlier, but they will have it.
Right. Yeah. So that's why we had to wait. We had to, we saw it. It was at like 11:30 at night because like it had to be over midnight, I think. Yeah. In order for them to show it. So that was Thursday night into Friday, because I think Friday was the release date of the movie. So that was pretty cool. And that one of the things is, so if you are a concierge guest, they actually have popcorn up in the concierge lounge. So what we did was, before all the shows and the movies, we just went up to the lounge, got our popcorn and our drinks, our sodas. They have They have a coffee machine that is probably $50,000, but is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to buy that machine. So we would just go back down to the show with the snacks. And I think for our next cruise, I mean, I may pay for the popcorn because I'm a popcorn girl, like definitely a popcorn fiend. But if you bring your own cup with like those Tiva, those cups that have the straws, like the plastic cups.
Oh, Tervis,
thank you. You can just go right up to the pool deck and fill up your cup. And you could even, I don't know if Cabanas is open, but you could get a pizza. You could pretty much get anything you want to eat and take it anywhere you want to on the ship. No one's going to tell you, oh, you have to eat whatever you have in one place. Does that make sense?
Yep, and that is true. The one thing with the refillable cups is Disney does not want you putting your drink from the soda machine right into your cup.
Oh, so yes, that's a good point.
They do ask that you use their cups so that there's not, a cross germ situation. And so you fill up their cup, you pour that into your cup, and then you can fill it up again and pour it into your cup and then take yours wherever you want to go.
Yeah, and I will say that the cast members that were, I don't know, do they call them cast members on the boat? Yeah, I think so.
They do.
Yeah, I did actually see a cast member tell a guest, please don't put your cup there. Please use this cup and just pour it in. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, I did actually see that happen. So I was actually very happy when I saw that. So our last day at sea, I guess that was day 6 of the cruise, but it was actually day 9 of our vacation. I had brought Tide Pods thinking like, oh, maybe I'll do some laundry. No, that did not happen at all. There was no laundry happening on that ship, but I do know that they do have laundry there. But I did not use it. So that was day 6 of the cruise. It was our last day at sea. My husband and I had brunch at Palos. That was our special meal. I didn't want to miss any of the dinners because I wanted to have an opportunity to go to all the restaurants. And also I wanted to have dinner with my kids. I didn't want to. So we decided to try out Palos for brunch, and it was worth I think you have to pay extra, right?
Yes, it's $30 a person plus tip, typically.
But I think it was totally worth it. The amount of food, the quality of the food. I think it came with mimosa. I think it came with. I think no. I had a peach Bellini, but yes, it comes with one drink. And, coffee, any kind of like it included everything. And then they had cheese, they had, I don't know if they call it chartreuse, but it was like the salami and all that kind of stuff, and the mushrooms and the artichokes. And I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. I think I took pictures of the food. They had a whole dessert area. They had a raw bar. They had like the shrimp and the crab legs. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then they give you a menu and they say, oh, pick something from this menu. I said, are you out of your mind? I just had, but I think I got the Benedict, what is it called?
Eggs.
The hollandaise.
I love eggs Benedict.
Yeah, the hollandaise with the smoked salmon. And then I think, what did my husband get? I can't remember. And it was just amazing. And then he even said, oh, do you want another one? Like, you can try this one. I'm like, are you crazy? I could not take another entree. And it was just awesome. And we had a beautiful view of the ocean. And it was our day at sea. So we were just cruising along. We had a beautiful view. It was just the two of us. Very romantic brunch. And
sounds really nice.
I'm definitely doing that again. I don't know if I'll try, if I'll do Palo at dinner. I think we'll probably do brunch again when the kids are in the kids club, but that brunch was phenomenal and I'm definitely doing it again. It was awesome.
It's my favorite meal at sea, and it's one of my favorite meals of all the entire year.
Yes.
We do, I think I've talked about this before, that I have to go for dinner because that's what my husband wants.
Yes. Okay.
So he goes to brunch with me, but I go to dinner with him, and neither of us are really, are really having to give that much. But yeah, he prefers the dinner. Dinner is basically like your really nice steakhouses, but then they also have the Italian dishes and seafood.
Mm-hmm. And we live in New Jersey, so we do have access to really, really amazing Italian food. So not to say that it won't be delicious, but I tend to, since I have Italian all the time, and really good Italian all the time. When I'm traveling, I tend to eat other types of food. But anyway, so after that, we met up with our family. I think my son was in the kids club. He just loved the kids club. He was just asking to go to the kids club. So I think it was just my daughter, but they had like this dance party with the characters, which is awesome. It's like kids gone crazy. It's like party people kids. I don't know if have you ever seen the kids dance parties?
Yeah, we have done that before.
And it's just so fun. And all the kids are there and they're dancing and it's awesome. And all the characters come down, the princesses. And I will say that, it's a ship, right? And so there's only a certain number of people there. And it's not like you're going to like get new people or people are going to leave. I mean, it's all the same people all the time. But sometimes you can see the cast members who are friends with the princesses. And I don't know if you know what that means or if other people know what that means. I don't want to spoil anything, but I definitely could tell. I could definitely tell sometimes because, you see the same people all the time with the princesses and everything. So I guess that was our semi-formal night. I have to say, Disney is such a great product. And I would say for families, like if you're not the type of person who likes to dress up, you don't have to dress up. I mean, people don't really, and by dress up, you wear like a summer dress with maybe like cute sandals. So like you don't have to get super dressed up. But I will say that in Palos, men have to wear pants. You can't wear shorts. Men cannot wear shorts in Palos. And I think at dinner, men have to wear a jacket. Is that right?
They do not because my husband never has a jacket. But
okay.
So they may request it or something at Remy, but Remy is not on the Wonder.
Oh, Remy requires a jacket. Okay, because Remy is like a Michelin-rated restaurant. Okay, yeah. So,
but they do ask you to look nicer. Like you're supposed to wear a collared shirt.
Yes.
And
you can't
like
wear
that,
your swimsuit and your cover up in Palos, but pretty much you could go to dinner every single night in whatever you want to wear. It's not. I would say it's not like other cruise ships in the sense that on Celebrity or Princess, you're going to see people who actually get dressed up for dinner. Oh, so we didn't really talk very much about the shows. And I think that all the shows were fine. They were, the Golden Mickeys was great. We saw, what's the other show? Oh, I have one of the navigators, Dreams, the Enchanted Classic. I think all the shows were fine. They were all good. But we did get to see the Frozen musical. That was Broadway quality. We have, because of where we live, we have the opportunity to go into the city and see shows from time to time. This show was awesome. So good. And the actors, the singers, and they use puppets in the show. I know it's abbreviated. It's not like the full musical, but it's almost, I think it's pretty much based, it's like the same set design, right? I mean, it's like pretty much the same. And the way that they change, when Elsa does her big, dress change, I was shocked at how like she changed her costume. Like they just did, it was just amazing. I'm like, wait a second, how did she, what happened? But it was, and again, you have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and you're thinking, oh my God, how is this kid going to sit through a 90-minute show, right? No, they loved Frozen. They were mesmerized, hypnotized. They were clapping, singing, laughing. They loved it. We were very close to the front. We got there very early. We were maybe 4 or 5 rows back. My daughter, oh my God, poor thing. My daughter kept saying, Elsa, like very loud. And I'd be like, honey, shh. And she'd be like pointing, Elsa there, Elsa's there. I was like, oh my God, like mortified. But like, that's the cool thing about Disney is that there's so many kids and all the parents are so understanding. I don't think anybody, people were kind of laughing a little bit, like it's kind of cute, but like nobody gave us the evil eye or like nobody got mad or I thought that was kind of the coolest part of the ship, that everybody was just so understanding about kids.
Yeah, for sure. And that show though it was one of the highlights from my cruise on the Wonder. It was definitely one of the highlights from my cruise. It's really good. I think it's like an hour long.
Was it an hour? 60 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I couldn't remember how long it was, but it was awesome. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it was probably our Palo brunch and the Frozen musical are definitely the two things that definitely, well, and the cabana. So there was three things. So then So Sad was our last day. Gosh, so sad. So we spent our last day at Castaway Cay again. And this time we kind of enjoyed the island more. We left the kids at the cabana with the grandparents. We took the bicycles around the island. We checked out the adult beach. I think we got a snack over at the Adults Cookies restaurant, which had a little bit different food, I think. Oh, the cool thing is that Castaway Cay does have a post office. The sad news is that sometimes the post office is closed. So you may not be able to mail a postcard to yourself. It may be closed. But if you are a concierge guest, your concierge host will mail it for you the next time the ship is at Castaway Cay. So we did end up, and I totally forgot that we had done it. We had mailed ourselves a postcard from Castaway Cay. So that was kind of cool. We had the Castaway Cay post stamp, the postmark.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think they only take cash too. So
that's a good tip. That's a good tip. But it was closed for us, so I never really had that experience. And all the characters are on the island, and they have kids club on the island, and they have just so many things to do. And it's just infinite, the amount of things that you could do. But we kind of just picked and, we just did only a small fraction of what there is to do on Castaway Cay. And that would probably be a great topic for you and Steve. You guys should talk about Castaway Cay, because you could talk about Castaway Cay for an entire podcast.
Yeah, good tip. Thank you. We will.
So that was pretty much it. When we had to pack up all 7 of our suitcases. Oh, Lord. I don't know if I mentioned it. We did bring a pop-up hamper. I tried my best to just chuck all the dirty laundry in one suitcase. I did my best to deal with it, but by the end of the cruise, you're just kind of chucking things into suitcases. And I guess that's it. Our breakfast on our de-embarkation day, we just went up to the concierge lounge, but I don't remember, where do you have breakfast if you are not concierge?
You have breakfast in the dining room that you last had dinner. So if Animator's Palette was your last rotation or rotational dining restaurant, then you would have breakfast there. And first seating, it's at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, Lord. I'm not going to that.
Yeah, I can tell you I've never been to my rotational dining breakfast.
Oh, Lord. That's not
One
happening.
time our head waiter let us go to second seating because I guess they knew they had enough people who weren't going to be there. So they said, just come to the second seating at 8:30. So we did that. But otherwise, you can go to Cabanas.
Oh, yeah, that's a good tip, yeah. We only ate in Cabanas one time on the cruise, but it was good. And they did have, when we were there, they did have shrimp and crab legs, so that was kind of fun. And they had all sorts of good stuff at Cabanas. Looking back, we probably should have eaten there more often, but there's just so many things to do. It's like constantly your attention is just being pulled in a million different directions. And it was pretty convenient. I think the most important thing to remember for someone who's never cruised before, and I actually had to remind myself this, is that as you're packing up, we kept one kind of small rolly suitcase for all the things that we needed for our last night and all the clothes that we needed for our disembarkation day. So that was good to remember to do that. So at least we had shoes, because I've heard of people who have accidentally packed everything and then they have no shoes and no clothes. God help it. But so you have to put all your luggage out the night before because they pack. I don't know how they unload and load these cruises so seamlessly. Mm-hmm. It just blows my mind. How good they are. They pick up your luggage the night before, and then when you disembark, you go and you pick up your luggage like you're like at the airport. Like they just have like the luggage in different groups, and they tell you like where you can expect to pick up your own luggage. Now, for us, we had 7 pieces of luggage, so there's a theme here. But we handsomely tipped a porter. There are plenty of them standing around that loaded up all of our luggage and walked with us as we went through customs. which was the customs was very, very easy. And this is a good point. We had a passport for my son, but we ended up getting a passport for my daughter as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have to have a passport?
You do not. If you are cruising to and from the same U.S. port, you do not need a passport. If you're doing one of the repositioning cruises, like they'll have the ones that go from New York to San Juan, or from Florida to California, or from California to up to Alaska to Vancouver. If you're doing a one-way cruise, everybody needs a passport.
Gotcha.
Now, we'll talk about this at a different show, but it's recommended to have a passport if there was an issue and medically somebody needed to get off the ship. It would be a lot more work for the rest of the group to get off and to get back home for everybody if you don't have a passport. So it is.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Yeah, and I think that's why we did get a passport for her. But yeah, so we had passports we all had passports. And we just put them in our safe while we were on the boat. We just left them in the safe so we wouldn't lose them. It made the most sense for us. So then the post-Disney depression set in as we were leaving the cruise terminal. We said goodbye to my in-laws. They drove home to South Florida. And then the rest of us, my parents, my husband, and the kids, we had the private transfer that took us back to Orlando Airport. And I think we were off the ship by maybe 9:30, and we were at the airport by like 11. And we had a 1:00 flight, and we were totally good. We were totally fine. What a beautiful trip. Yeah. And then you have to book another one. Oh, and we did, but that's actually a good point. We did get our placeholders. And I think, I don't remember, but you just pay a deposit but I recommend if you had a good time on that cruise, you should get a placeholder because I think there's benefits. I think we got a discount or there was a good reason why you want to get a placeholder.
Yes, you get a 10% discount, not on a concierge room, but so on a non-concierge room, you get 10% discount on a cruise that doesn't have a blackout date. So there are a couple like Christmas, certain holidays are going to have blackout dates, but otherwise you can get 10% off. So that's huge. And you have to pay the $250. So per cabin, it's $250 no matter how many people are here.
And for some people that's just not in the budget. So I totally get it. But there is a lot of flexibility, I think. Don't they give you 2 years to use it? So
yes, and it's completely refundable. So
that's a good point. So then maybe so if you do change your mind.
Somebody could budget the $250 and just know, and then you have 2 years from the date you book it. So depending on when your cruise is, keep that in mind. Book it towards the end of the cruise. Except that those lines get long.
Point. That's an excellent. Well, anyway, this has been so much fun, Christy. I love talking to you about my trip. It makes me so sad that I'm not on a Disney cruise ship right now.
I know. These trip report shows really make it depressing when you're not, when you don't have one. Well, Emily, thank you for coming back on. And now I will tell our listeners that we actually recorded this episode the first time a few weeks ago, and my recorder didn't record. So now we're actually both recording. So we will make sure this is recorded.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate you, Emily, being so good with this and gracious and coming on a second time sharing your experience.
And I know this was a long podcast, so I don't know. Steve may want to do an intro with different time, skip to this one if you want to hear about this, a little index, because this was a 2-hour show, so it's kind of long. So I appreciate if people listen to this whole thing because that was a lot, but it was a fun trip.
I hear Steve yelling at me, going, "Christy,
this is a 2-hour show, Christy. What are you doing?"
Sometimes he'll say, "All right, we got to look at the time."
Yeah, I know. But anyway,
he can have fun editing it, so it'll be okay. Well, thank you, Emily. So you're going out of New York next fall, I'm going to guess, 2019.
Yes. So 2019, we have 2 Disney trips planned. And again, my husband was kind of shaking his head. But, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. We are renting DVC points, and we're going to stay at the Bay Lake Tower. And we're going to go for 5 days, 4 nights that last week of January. The Pro Bowl, I think, is on Sunday, but I think Saturday is going to be like a busy day, but I think we're going to go to either Epcot or Hollywood Studios because it'll be less crowded on a Saturday. But anyway, the rest of the week is supposed to be not so crowded. So we're going to do that in January. And then in the last week of September 2019, we're going to do a Bermuda cruise from New York on the Magic, so we don't have to fly.
That's great.
Yeah, something to look forward to. I love it.
Well, then we will have to have you back on. You can tell us the difference between what you packed for that cruise versus what you packed for this one.
Oh, that would be a great show. Oh, gosh. And, I think it's because when you have little kids, you have this like feeling of panic. Like you feel like you have to have every single little thing that this toddler needs.
For sure.
Because, you get a little stressed out when you travel with toddlers because you want them to be comfortable.
Well, thank you for coming on and have a great night.
Okay, you too.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Once again, I really want to thank Christy and Emily for the hard work getting this show out. And I do apologize once again. It was kind of late in getting it out to you, the listeners. We just had a little audio difficulties, and then somehow it just kind of sat there on the back shelf. So I do appreciate them once again. Just a great look at what it's like to travel on Disney Cruise Line for the first time. A lot of good takes there from Emily and her family. So if you're enjoying what you're hearing and you have some friends to pass it along to, we sure would appreciate it if you'd share it with them. It helps us get the word out in the cruising and the Disney podcast community. Also, if you have time to go over to iTunes and leave us a review, we sure would appreciate that as well. That helps the show get a little bit more recognition and just once again helps us get to be a little bit better known. So between now and our next show, if you'd like to get a hold of Steve, you can reach me at DCL Podcast on Facebook or Twitter. As always, you can get a hold of Christy over at packyourpixiedust.com, Pack Your Pixie Dust on Facebook, and PackYR Pixie Dust on Twitter. So between now and our next show, if you're heading out on your next vacation, all of us would like to wish you fair winds and safe sailing as you head out on your next adventure. Once again, thanks for coming back and taking a listen, and we'll see you next time on the DCL Podcast.